Vijana hoe, wamama hai, asanteni sana. Haya. Sasa leo mimi nimekuja, baba amekuja.
My good people, my lovable people. Today I want us to discuss one trait of the late former Prime Minister of Kenya that no one is talking about. They will tell you many things about Raila Odinga, his fight for devolution, his struggle for multi-party democracy, his tireless chase for the presidency in Kenya, his intellectual strategy in landmark initiatives like the BBI, and his courage in holding the government to account and pushing for economic development. But they will not tell you the exact reason which enabled him to do all these and to be loved by all Kenyans, regardless of their tribe. And I am here today to share something I call reckless love. When I say reckless love, I am not talking about careless affection or self-destruction. No, what I mean is this: the kind of love that takes possession of someone's heart in service of others' lives. The kind of love that makes one forget themselves, choosing instead to give their time, energy, and resources so that others may smile. Now, that is who Raila was.
Kulikuwa na mpango kunaitwa Baba Care.
Throughout his life, Raila demonstrated a kind of love that went far beyond politics. It was not about power, but purpose. His leadership was never about sitting on the throne. It was about standing for the truth, no matter the cost. This is why, even after facing multiple detentions, including the 9 years he spent in prison fighting for Kenya's freedom, he came out still preaching unity instead of revenge.
And those of you who are not here, who are watching wherever you are, those who are at home, kula kwa macho.
He forgave those who tortured him and chose reconciliation over retaliation. That is reckless love, a love that places country before comfort and people before pride. His heart was not moved by titles or wealth, but by the cry of a struggling citizen. That is what made him unique, a man who would rather be hurt by the truth than comforted by lies. His love for Kenya was greater than his anger towards the system that once silenced him. This man, this nation builder, and reckless love in his blood. Raila would pour himself into others' affairs, not for glory, but for the love of his people. He did not care how much he might lose, what she or he might say, or how long the fight would last. He gave all he had, because the desire of his heart was to see Kenyans smile. And guys, Raila chased the desire of his heart. That is a Kenya with a working system, free from corruption, with enough job opportunities, and an end to abduction and extrajudicial killings.
I have a right to answer questions the way I want to answer it. Mr. Speaker, unless the honorable member...
His courage was not driven by ego. It was powered by conviction. Raila believed that true leadership meant service and not superiority. He fought for electoral justice not because he wanted sympathy, but because he wanted fairness for every Kenyan whose vote carried a dream. That desire drove his many presidential runs. Even when he lost, he went to court. When he lost again in court, he kept contesting. And even when the odds were clearly that the results were rigged, he chose to respect the court of law in order to protect his people from post-election violence, even though some of his supporters would push for violence. He did not vanish or grow bitter. He came back stronger, believing that one day Kenya would rise beyond tribal lines and corruption. He carried his people's pain like his own. And that is reckless love. When a man's heartbeat aligns with the pulse of an entire nation. He could have retired, he could have given up, but he stayed because his fight was not for power. It was for justice, equality, and opportunity for all Kenyans. This heartbreak, losing election after election, could never stop him from loving Kenyans recklessly.
Think as a Kenyan first before you think as a member of the community here and there. I am surprised all the times when I come here and people say they fear Raila. We have all the time been working together.
He could not just sit back and watch as a new government governed wrongly. He sought to influence from within. With the handshakes, alliances, and negotiations.
But I want us to be united as a people. Kenya is much more important than any one of us. If Kenya burns, we'll have no country.
He ensured that only policies that favored citizens were implemented. Money and power never stopped him from correcting the government, even from the inside. He insisted on school feeding programs for early childhood education because hunger should never keep a child away from class. Through the Raila Odinga Foundation, he launched a 300 million scholarship and mentorship scheme to support underprivileged children in East Africa. The foundation helped over 2,000 students access quality education in less than a decade, giving hope to children who once thought education was beyond their reach. Beyond that, he personally intervened to donate millions toward school projects in various counties. An example is the over 2 million raised for schools in Kisii County. The foundation also built resource and training centers in rural Nyanza and Western Kenya, empowering women, youth, and small business owners with the skills for self-reliance. All this is the evidence of his reckless love. A love so deep for his nation that he risked everything for it. You see the pattern? The love was his compass, not the pursuit of office. Office came and went, but the love remained. Power never became the goal. The goal was the people. So, let this be your lesson. When love drives your service, when your hardship becomes someone else's hope, then you are operating on a higher plane. You are no longer in politics. You are living in purpose. Because reckless love is not about self-gain. It is about collective elevation. And even though Raila Odinga never tasted the presidency he sought so many times, his legacy is defined not by what he lost, but by how he loved. He loved his people more than he feared defeat. He loved service more than he feared loss. If you ask me, what enabled him to rise? What allowed him to keep rising despite defeat after defeat? It was that reckless love. And perhaps that same love is what our generation needs if we are to rise beyond selfish ambition and refuse to be defined by failure.
Lakini kwa hiyo mimi naenda salimu watu wangu. Salimu Kenya, mimi nakufa, lakini mimi nakufa kwa niaba ya Wakenya.
And guys, that is it. What they never told you about Raila Amollo Odinga. May his soul continue resting in peace. I love you guys. And guys, kindly subscribe, watch my other videos and topics, and share this channel to your friends. Also, comment below. I want to hear your views about this topic. So guys, I love you. Bye.